Andre Jordan had just finished his shift at the corner convenience store. It was 9:47 p.m. Same routine, backpack on, hoodie up, walking the 3 blocks home through Franklin Heights. He had headphones in, but no music playing. Just white noise, because Andre was aware of how he looked, how he moved, where he was. Like so many young black men. He knew not to make sudden moves, not to wear dark colors at night, not to look suspicious. He wasn't paranoid. He was prepared. Up ahead, headlights. Police cruiser, rolling slow. Andre didn't run, didn't flinch, didn't even look up until the engine stopped. Then, chirp, the squawk of a police radio. A door opened. "Hey, kid, stop for a second." Andre paused, turned. "Is there a problem, officer?" The man approaching him was white, early 40s. Name tag read Harlan, his posture already aggressive. One hand on the flashlight, one on the belt. "What are you doing out here?" Andre blinked. "Walking home. I live 2 streets over." "Where you coming from?" "Work, at Corner Mart." Harlan scoffed. "You got ID?" Andre reached, slowly. "Yeah, right here." He handed over his school ID and state learners. "Permit?" Harlan looked it over like it smelled funny. "What's in your bag?" "Just snacks, uniform, geometry book." Harlan stepped closer. Too close. Andre could smell coffee and arrogance. "You fit the description." Andre's brow furrowed. "What?" "Description? Young black male, hoodie, backpack, seen walking in this area earlier." Andre stayed calm. That could describe half the kids in this neighborhood. Harlan's jaw tightened. "What's your tone?" Andre raised his hands slightly. "I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just walking home." "Get down on your knees," Andre blinked. "What? Down, now!" A passing car slowed. Someone across the street pulled out a phone. Andre looked around, then slowly, quietly, got on his knees. Click. The sound of handcuffs. "You're being detained." "For what?" "For matching a description." "That's not a reason. It is tonight." Andre didn't cry, didn't yell, but his heart pounded so hard it shook. His breath. Not because he was guilty, but because this felt dangerously familiar, like the names he'd seen on the news. The stories he'd studied in class. Only now, he was the one in the story. Music fades in, low strings, building pressure, slow heartbeat rhythm underneath. Voiceover whisper. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But to some people, existing while black is all it takes. Andre was on his knees, palms flat on the concrete, breath sharp, eyes steady. Officer Harlan paced in a slow circle behind him. The street was dimly lit, but cell phone cameras were already out. 3 people, maybe 4, neighbors, bystanders. Watching, recording, but not intervening. "Spread your legs." Harlan barked. Andre obeyed. "You got anything on you I should know about?" "No, sir." "Why you walking so late?" "I just got off work." "What's the real story?" Andre turned his head slightly. "That is the real story." Harlan grabbed the back of his hoodie, shoved him forward. "Don't get smart with me." Andre grunted. "I'm not. I'm just trying to go home." The cameras caught it, the push, the tone, the unnecessary aggression. But none of them caught what came before. Only Andre on his knees in cuffs under streetlights. A woman across the street shouted, "Leave him alone!" "He didn't do anything." Harlan turned. "Mind your business, ma'am. This is police procedure." Andre tried to speak. "Can I call my mom?" Harlan ignored him. "You got a criminal record?" "No." "Ever been arrested?" "No." "So you're saying you're squeaky clean, huh?" Andre didn't respond, because he knew what came next, and he didn't want to give this man a reason to escalate. Then, the body cam beeped. Recording resumed. Because what Harlan didn't know, it had auto-deactivated for nearly 10 minutes. And now it was back on. "I'm gonna search your bag." Andre's voice was calm. "You don't have probable cause," Harlan smirked. "You think you know the law, huh?" "Better than you think." Harlan opened the backpack, pulled out a half-eaten protein bar, a folded Corner Mart uniform, a geometry textbook. Nothing more, nothing less. "This all you got?" Andre didn't move. Told you. The moment shifted. Harlan looked around. More. People had gathered. A young man live streaming, a mother covering her daughter's eyes, and for the first time, Harlan looked nervous. He yanked Andre to his feet. You're free to go. No apology. No explanation. Just a pair of shaking hands fumbling to unlock the cuffs. The click felt louder than it should have. Andre rubbed his wrists. Can I go now? Harlan said nothing, just walked back to his cruiser, slamming the door behind him. The car drove off. The crowd stood stunned, then slowly and scattered. Andre stood there alone, same street, same sidewalk, different world. He walked home slow, every step echoing the weight of what just happened. But someone had filmed the ending, just the last 2 minutes, not the push, not the threats. Not the smirk, just the image of Andre, on his knees in cuffs. And by morning, that's the part the world saw. Music fades in, haunting ambient tones over a slow, pounding heartbeat. Voiceover whisper. They caught a moment, but missed. The truth. Until the truth revealed itself on tape. Andre woke up to his phone exploding. Notifications, missed calls, group chats. Someone had posted the video. The one where he was on his knees, hands behind his head, under flashing lights. The caption? Another thug caught in Franklin Heights. Curfew violator. Stop the threat. The video didn't show what led up to it. No threats, no hands-on hoodie, no push. No humiliation. Just a still image, a stereotype. Packaged for clicks. The comments were brutal. Should have stayed home. Bet he had something on him. Don't act guilty if you're innocent. I support the cops. Always. Andre closed the app. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from fury and frustration. He got dressed for school. Gray hoodie, jeans, same shoes. When he walked through the front gate, heads turned. Some whispered, some avoided him. One kid recorded him walking down the hall, smiling while doing it. In homeroom, his name wasn't called. He was sent to the principal's office. Andre, the principal said, not meeting his eyes, until this matter is sorted, we're placing you on temporary leave. For what? Public disruption, reputation risk. So I get arrested without reason, and now I get punished again? The principal folded his hands. We're just following protocol. Andre, left without a word, walked out of school, past the lockers, past the mural that said, all students matter. What a joke. He got home, threw his backpack on the couch. His mom was there, silent, eyes red. She'd seen the video too. They don't know who you are, she said softly. But I do, and the truth will come out. That night, a knock on the door. A woman stood there, early 30s, black blazer, clipboard in hand. Hi, I'm Jules Morgan. I'm a journalist with the Independent Observer. I saw the footage, but I think there's more to the story, and I want to help you tell it, the real way. Andre looked at his mom. She nodded slowly. Come. And they sat down, explained everything, from the walk home to the cuffs to the viral mess it became. Jules listened, took notes. Then she said, I've requested the Bodycam footage from the police department. Andre blinked. They'll give it to you? Jules smiled. Not willingly, but I know how to make them. Music begins, low, investigative piano over steady percussion. A pulse of resistance rising, voiceover whisper. They thought the video told the whole story, but the truth was still waiting to be seen, from the inside. Jules Morgan wasn't just another reporter. She'd been through this before. Names that made headlines, stories that were spun the wrong way, truths buried under official statements. And now, she was after Andre's truth. She filed a Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, request with the Franklin Heights Police Department. Bodycam footage. Officer Harlan's incident report. All logs, timestamps, and internal memos related to Andre's detainment. Days passed. Then came the reply, request denied. Ongoing investigation. Footage withheld under Section 7B. Jules laughed bitterly. Classic. She sent a follow-up, then another. Still nothing. Meanwhile, the online hate got worse. New accounts posting clips of Andre photoshopped, mocked, even some parents from the school weighed in. If he just cooperated, none of this would have happened. We support our police. Let's not make this about race. Andre stopped going outside, stopped texting friends, stopped believing this would ever get better. But Jules didn't stop. She called in a favor, an attorney friend who specialized in civil rights. They drafted a formal legal notice, filed an emergency FOIA appeal to the city's records office. Within 48 hours, the department cracked. The footage will be released to the requester under restricted access. Viewing permitted by appointment only. Jules booked the first available slot, told Andre and his mom, "I want you to see it first." They met at the city building, room 213, one table, one laptop. A records officer pressing play. It started with static, then a dashboard, then Officer Harlan's voice. Black male, late teens, walking eastbound near Ridgeview. They watched the footage in silence. Andre standing on the sidewalk, cooperative, respectful, calm. Then came the push, the mocking, the comment. "You people always got an attitude." Andre's mom gasped softly, his fists clenched. But the worst moment, the part where Harlan laughed. "Maybe next time you'll think twice before walking like you own the place." Jules paused the video. That's what they didn't show. Andre wiped his eyes, not because he was sad, but because it was finally real. The truth had a timestamp. The lie had a voice. And now, the world would hear both. Jules stood. "We go public. Tomorrow." Music rises. Sharp strings, slow percussion. The calm before justice speaks. Voice-over whisper. They tried to bury his truth in silence, but they forgot one thing. His story had been recording the whole time. Jules uploaded the footage at 10:03 a.m., no filters, no edits, no spin. Just the raw body cam footage from Officer Harlan. Title, Full Body Cam, Franklin Heights Police Detainment of Teen Andre Jordan. Within 30 minutes, 10,000 views. By noon, over 100,000, and climbing fast. The internet exploded, because what they saw wasn't what they'd been told. Andre wasn't hostile, wasn't mouthy, wasn't a threat. He was calm, composed, cooperative. And still, he was pushed, mocked, cuffed, and humiliated. All for walking home. The footage hit every major platform. Clips were shared with captions like, "This is why we film." He was polite. They were violent. "If this is procedure, we're broken." The comments turned. The same people who'd once typed, "He must have done something," now wrote, "I was wrong. This hurts to watch. I hope that officer gets fired." Even celebrities spoke up. One actor posted, "Andre Jordan deserves more than an apology. He deserves a system that didn't target him in the first place." News outlets picked it up. Bodycam contradicts officer's report in teen detainment. Black teen humiliated. Footage shows no cause. Truth was on the tape all along. At school, the administration scrambled. The same principal, who suspended Andre, now issued a statement. "We regret the actions taken without full context and support Andre Jordan as he navigates this difficult moment." But Andre didn't return right away. He wasn't ready. Ms. Carter, his old English teacher, emailed him personally. "I saw the video. I cried. You've always carried more than you should have, and still, you stood taller than all of us." That night, Andre sat on the edge of his bed. No lights, phone in hand. He stared at the video, paused at the moment he was forced to his knees, and whispered, "I told you, I didn't do anything wrong." And finally, the world agreed. Music builds, emotional, cinematic, righteous, the weight of injustice meeting the power of evidence. Voice over whisper, they used his silence to write a false story, but the camera, it remembered everything. Andre walked into school the next Monday. No hoodie this time, just a plain black t-shirt, jeans, and a look that said, "I'm not here for your approval. I'm here because I earned this." The hallways, once hostile, were silent. Not cold, not They're just full of awkward respect. Some kids nodded, others looked away. One girl whispered, barely loud enough to hear, "I'm glad the video came out." In the cafeteria, his table, once empty, was now full of eyes. Some apologetic, some embarrassed, some curious. Andre sat alone anyway, because sometimes you don't sit down to prove you belong. You let the room adjust around you. In the main office, the principal waited. "Andre, we owe you an apology. We reacted too quickly, and we're reviewing our disciplinary protocols because of this." Andre stared, then asked, "Would you be doing that if there was no camera?" The principal paused. "Probably not," Andre nodded. "Then you're not sorry, you're scared," and he walked out. Ms. Carter found him after third period, hugged him without asking. "You didn't let them break you." "I almost did," he whispered. The school announced a town hall meeting, parents, staff, students, to discuss racial bias and disciplinary equity. Andre was asked to speak. He declined. Instead, he submitted a quote to be read. "If the system won't protect, do at least let it stop pretending it ever tried." But not all the responses were hostile. A few students approached him directly. "I believed the first video. Sorry, man. I should have said something, not just now, back then." "You didn't deserve that," Andre nodded, accepted it. But inside, he'd already moved past forgiveness. Because what he really wanted was change, not apologies, not sympathy, not performative regret, real, structural, cultural change. At home, he got a letter, not from the school, not from the police, from a professor at a top university. "I saw your composure in that footage. I read your words at the town hall. If you're ever looking for a future in pre-law or civil rights, my door is open. We need minds like yours." Andre smiled for the first time in days. Not because someone noticed, but because finally, someone. Beat music swells, softer, more hopeful. A shift from survival to transformation. Voiceover whisper. He didn't ask to be a symbol, but now that he was one, he chose what it would mean. Officer Harlan sat in a small, windowless room. No gun, no badge, just a legal pad and a voice recorder. Across from him sat two investigators. Both wore plain suits. Both had already watched the footage. Twice. "We're going to start by reading the official transcript of your incident report." They did, word for word, then pressed play on the Bodycam video and let it speak for itself. When the video finished, silence. Then, "Officer Harlan, your written report states the subject was uncooperative, verbally aggressive, and reached toward his waistband." The investigator looked up. "Please explain what we just watched." Harlan shifted in his seat, cleared his throat. "He was giving me attitude. I perceived a threat." "Where was the threat?" "His tone, his posture. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't move aggressively. It's not always about what they do. Sometimes it's instinct." The room went colder. "Is that how you police? On instinct?" Harlan said nothing. Back at the precinct, the department was in chaos. Emails from the mayor's office, demands for a public apology, threats of lawsuits. The chief of police called an emergency press conference. The actions captured on Officer Harlan's body cam do not reflect the values of this department. He has been placed on administrative leave pending termination review. But the public didn't want leave. They wanted accountability. Protesters gathered outside the precinct. Signs read, "Walking home shouldn't be a crime. Justice for Andre." The tape told the truth, back at home. Andre watched it all unfold on TV, reporters, crowds, chants, his face on screen, his name in hashtags. His mom turned to him. "How does it feel?" Andre stared at the screen, then said, "Heavy. Like I'm carrying every other kid who's been through. Vidure, but didn't have a camera." At school, things kept changing. The school board approved funding for anti-bias training. A new student-led equity committee was formed. And for the first time in years, Black students at Crest Hill felt like they had a seat at the table. But for Andre, it wasn't about attention. It was about something deeper. Balance, repair, truth that couldn't be dismissed anymore. One night, he wrote in his notebook, "Sometimes, justice doesn't come in courtrooms. Sometimes it comes in pixels and playback." And that quote would go on to be featured in a national magazine, next to his photo, next to his story. And for the first time in his life, Andre Jordan was seen, not as a suspect, but as a symbol of change. Music swells, orchestral, proud but restrained. Not victory music, justice music, voiceover whisper. They wore uniforms to protect the truth, but he protected it with nothing but courage. 2 weeks after the video dropped, Andre was invited to speak, not by the principal, not by the school board, but by the student body. They were holding a town hall. Voices unheard, and they wanted Andre to be the keynote. He didn't say yes. Right away, he wasn't used to being the center of attention for the right reasons. But Ms. Carter pulled him aside. "This is your moment, not to relive what happened, but to tell them who you are." So he said yes. The gym was packed, more students than seats, parents, teachers, even the mayor showed up. In the back row, no cameras, no press. Andre stood on stage, microphone in hand. He didn't read a speech, he spoke from memory, from pain, from power. "When that officer put me on my knees, I wasn't afraid of him. I was afraid no one would believe me." The room went still, no phones, no whispering, just listening. "I didn't cry when he cuffed me. I didn't scream. I didn't fight back, but I carried that moment home, and I carried it until the truth was loud enough to stand without me." A student near the front wiped a tear. A teacher lowered her head. "I'm not here to be your symbol. I'm not your perfect victim. I'm just proof that being right doesn't always keep you safe. But staying silent never sets you free." Applause didn't erupt. It built, like thunder rising from the floorboards. After the speech, a man in a gray suit approached him, introduced himself, Dr. Raymond Green, Dean of Admissions, Colson University, one of the top civil rights law programs in the country. He shook Andre's hand. "We'd like to offer you something, not just admission, but a full ride. Academic leadership program. We need voices like yours shaping the law, not just surviving under it." Andre froze. "You saw the video?" Dr. Green nodded. "I saw the courage. And we don't just recruit grades here. We recruit change." At home, Andre sat with the envelope. Thick, gold seal. His name written in bold. He opened it slowly. Read the words twice, then once more. He didn't jump, didn't cry. He just looked at his mom and said, "We made it." Music swells, piano meets strings, rising into something that feels like light after rain. Voiceover whisper. They tried to break him in front of a camera, but the same lens became the one that framed his future. Andre stepped onto the campus of Colson University, not with cameras flashing, not with people cheering, but with a peace he hadn't felt in months. The dorms were tall. The library looked like a museum. And the people? They didn't stare. They smiled, not because of what happened to him, but because of who he was becoming. Orientation was a blur. New faces, new names, professors who already knew his story, but treated him like a scholar, not a headline. He chose his major, pre-law, with a minor in ethics. The advisor nodded. "You've got a voice that people stop to hear. Let's help you sharpen." During his first seminar, they discussed body cameras, use of force, implicit bias. No one brought up his name, so he did. "I know what it feels like to be a case study." The class paused. He continued. "But I'd rather be a solution." His, professor smiled. "Then speak up. Change starts in rooms like this." Later at the student center, a girl stopped him. "You're the guy from the video, right?" Andre tensed. "Yeah." She didn't pity him, didn't praise him, just said, "What happened to you? Made me want to go to law school too." Then walked away. That night, Andre sat on the rooftop terrace outside the dorms. looking up at the stars. He wasn't thinking about Harlan, or the school, or the cuffs. He was thinking about how far he'd come. He opened a notebook, wrote just 4 words. On the first page, from silence I spoke, and somewhere deep inside, he knew he didn't just survive, he was becoming. Music plays softly, gentle piano, a steady heartbeat rhythm underneath. Quiet power, quiet peace. Voiceover whisper. He walked away from shame and stepped into something bigger, not revenge, but legacy. Part 10. His name, his story. His terms opening with soft footsteps across a lecture hall stage, murmurs of a gathered crowd, and the quiet hush that falls when someone real is about to speak. 1 year later, Andre stood behind a podium, not in handcuffs, not in the back of a squad car, not as a suspect, but as the keynote speaker of Colson University's Youth Justice Forum. He wore a charcoal suit, a silver pin gifted to him by the law faculty, shaped like a scale, and in his hand, no script. No paper, just truth. The room was full. Professors, students, reporters, even a few names from the Justice Department. Everyone had seen the body cam. Now as they wanted to hear from the boy inside it, Andre adjusted the mic, looked out, then began. They said I matched a description, but what they meant was I didn't match their expectation. A pause. No noise, not even a cough. I was handcuffed for walking, shamed for standing still, and humiliated just for existing in my skin. He let that sit, then added, "But I'm not here to relive that night. I'm here to reclaim it." Applause tried to rise. He held up a hand. Not yet. Because that night, it wasn't just about me. It was about every teen who's been followed, searched, silenced, or shamed, and didn't have a camera running. He looked down, then up again. If my story taught you anything, let it be this. Never underestimate what's recording. Not just the lens, but the mind, the memory, the heart. Now the applause came, real, resonant. After the talk, a student came up, freshman, nervous. I wanted to say thank you. You gave me the courage to file a complaint I was scared to write. Andre nodded. Good. Now make sure they read it. Later that night, Andre stood outside the forum hall, alone, looking up at the stars again. Only this time, he wasn't wondering where he fit in. He knew. He pulled out his old notebook, turned to the last page, wrote one final line. I was once a headline, now I'm the author. Music rises, full, emotional, empowering, then slowly fades into stillness. Voice over whisper, closing line. They tried to reduce him to footage, but his story couldn't be paused. It kept going until it changed everything. Fade out.